Hello, everybody. Spider here, the Fight Card Podcast, coming to you once again. San Antonio, Texas. Of course, my guest today, Rachael Lippert. Actually, you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, I moved to Iowa a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I'm from born and raised in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I was looking that up because obviously I always like to ask beforehand because we tend not to edit our Facebook pages, so they stay the same. But yeah, I mean, I got a hold of you earlier today. You were training, so of course, how's everything going with your training?
Training's awesome. So I train earlier on in the day, like a shorter session. It's like an hour, hour and a half, depending. And then I go back and I train for anywhere from like 4 to sometimes 6 hours again at night, depending on how late our fighter practice goes.
No, I can only imagine. I mean, especially depending how many people show up to train, also, right?
Yeah, it's a good group down here. So I moved because this gym has more people my size. I didn't have any female training partners or like size training partners where I was. So coming down here, they have a lot of smaller guys and a couple females, and so like yeah, it's a good group.
No, I mean I can imagine because that's one of the things, especially with MMA. There's a lot of women in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but when it comes to combat sports, a lot of gyms don't host that. It's usually like one or two, and it's kind of hard for you all to kind of get that even, sparring going on.
Yeah, and it's difficult. It's hard to convince yourself to try things on somebody who's like 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Now, of course, this fight coming up, it's gonna be for the Fighting Alliance Championship. Of course, their eighth installment, May 6th. So you're close to it. I mean, nerves? Are there any? Are you excited? What's going on?
No, I'm excited. And it's just pure excitement. So it'll be a year and 2 months from the last time that I set foot in the cage, and I've been through a lot in the last year or so. I had 3 neck surgeries, and I moved now, and it's been a lot. It's been a long road back, and it's pure excitement. I'm
No,
just ready to be there.
yeah. I mean, just like you mentioned, I mean, especially the neck injuries. I mean, how severe were they? And are you 100% right now?
So yeah, I'm 100% right now, but they were pretty severe. My spinal cord was being damaged, and sometimes it affected my ability to even walk. So, the surgeries that I had, they were emergency surgeries. They weren't planned, and they weren't really a choice I got to make. It was just you have to do this, in order to even just live a normal life, let alone fight. So, yeah, they were kind of shoved on me. It wasn't much of a decision, but we're back now, 100%. I can fight. I can do whatever I want. So
No. I mean, that's great to hear because one of the things that I learned years back when I was actually teaching myself, one of my students, he was a chiropractor, and he had told me I was telling the man my elbow hurts. He was like, man, turn around. He started like my with my back, and sure enough, he's like, man, how's it feel? And I said, man, that's amazing. And he says, man, your back's like a fuse box. If one of them goes out, it usually leads to something. And I mean, we take that for granted because a lot of times allergies, aches, or pains are strictly just our back. We got to get aligned. But I mean, having gone through surgery, I mean, I can only imagine.
yeah, it was a lot, and it's true. It does affect everything. Like, and we do take it for granted our what we do every day. Like after my surgeries, I mean, shit, I couldn't wash my own hair. So it's like
Okay.
we go from being able to fight and being athletes to all of a sudden you can't wash your own hair. You can't change your own shirt. Like it's really humbling, and it really puts everything into perspective, and makes you appreciate having the ability to step into a cage. So it's really, I feel like people who never go through that, they're always, they just they take for granted being able to walk around every day and stuff like that, and you don't realize there are people that don't have that. I know it seems like such a dumb little thing to be like appreciative of, but just having your mobility is something people take for granted, and you shouldn't, because believe me, once it's gone, it sucks.
Yeah, you see, and that's one of the things myself. My mom moved in with me a couple of months back, and she's up there in age. I mean, she had a stroke years back. Strong woman. She's been my best friend since birth, obviously. And but one of the things about her is that she's losing her sight. She's losing her ability to walk. And being there for her, I'm grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that I'm able to help her out. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you know what? I mean, it hurts to see her go through this because a couple years back she was up and walking and doing whatever. And
Yeah.
now just being able to get up, she can't even do that. So it hurts. But I mean, yeah, like you said, we take that for granted. And the fact that we're here right now today, it's definitely a blessing.
Yeah, it is. And I really, and that's why I try to keep it as real as I can, on internet, like with my presence, I guess, because shit's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? People go through shit, and it's rough. And I feel like we need to be real. We need to like let everyone know that everyone goes through shit, right? So
Right. No, you see, I agree with you 100%. I mean, here locally, I have a studio, where I have guests that come in, fighters. And one of the things right off the bat from when I first started doing this year was that a lot of people opened up, and just a simple, like, man, how are you today? And people just from that alone, they opened up, and it's like, wow, we hold on to a lot. And so, yeah, why not? It is social media. I mean, we can post, what we feel that day. I mean, every day I'm like, you know what, I'm in pain, I'm hurting, but I'm here, ready to go, ready to go for another day.
yeah, I feel like, because I know you see these Instagram pages, right, or Facebook pages, and it's just people and their happy relationship and their vacations and all, or the house they bought, the car they bought. It's all sunshine and rainbows, and we think that we're spreading positivity, right? And I mean, to an extent, I'm sure we are.
Right, right.
But what you do is you make what actually happens, or at least how I see it is, I'm like, damn, like this fucking sucks. I don't get to do that stuff. Like it kind of, when in reality, those people they have bad days. They go through shit. You don't see it, but like somebody who's going through shit might look at that and they don't see like, oh my God, that's so awesome. They go, well, fuck, man, my life sucks by comparison to that.
I'm
So
having to
like,
put down the street, it's like hell, man.
yeah. So so to me, I try to keep, not everything I post is going to be positive. Some of it's going to be difficult. Some of it's going to be about my struggles. And like my biggest thing was I posted a video a while back about me going through, like, or not a while back, like last week, about, how I was having a rough time at the beginning of this camp and all this stuff. And people were like, well, you shouldn't put that out there because your opponent's going to, like, who cares? You think she's not going through shit? Just because she doesn't say it and post it out there doesn't mean she's not going through shit. She's going through shit. I know for a fact she's going through shit. My opponent actually lost her brother really early on in this camp. She's going through shit. Like, just because she's not posting about it doesn't mean it's not happening, doesn't mean she's not feeling it, and to me, just because you don't say it doesn't change anything. You're still going through it whether you tell the world or you don't. So
Right. No, yeah, you see, and that's what it reminds me. This post somebody, a while back, somebody had posted, like, we don't know what the struggle somebody else is going through, and that's true because it's like, it's so common for me. I mean, I work with customers, I work with some of these department stores, and I'm always like, hey, how's it going? But we don't really mean it. It's just kind of like, hey, hello,
yeah, in
and
passing.
yeah, so it's just, and there's every once in a while, like I'll catch somebody off guard and they, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, man, you know what? My dog ran away. I couldn't find my keys. I had a flat on the way over here, and it's just like, and they kind of stop and look at me like, but hey, you asked, right? So
Yeah, they don't expect you to keep it real. They expect you to do the same in passing, be like, "Oh, good. How about you? Bye." Like that's what they expect, and then you actually like answer their question. And I've had so many people off me sharing these kind of like trials and tribulations. I've had so many people message me and they go, I was going through something similar, and it's like they relate. You're relatable now. You're not, sunshine and rainbows. People feel like they can talk to you. And as much as I joke, like if you see I mean, it's not all jokes, but like if you see my posts and stuff, it's about how much like I really like being left alone and I don't like people. And it's because there's a lot of more shitty people in the world than there are good people. It's sad, but it's true. So like when good people reach out to me and they actually try to have a real conversation with me, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I want to talk to you. I want to hear about how you're doing. But when I'm joking around, like I want everyone to leave me alone, don't talk to me, don't like it's those people that they're just there to like hit on you, or they're just a shit person and you can tell by their vibe or what they're posting. Like those people are the people I'm talking about. Leave me alone. But if somebody relates to me or they have something they just feel they can talk to me about, 100%, always I'm here for it.
no, yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. Only for me, yeah, I want to be left alone. I tell people, I said, I'm into social media, but I've been doing this 10 years here in Texas, going to fights and being the media guy. I'm always behind the camera. So that's my shield, and it's like, I can't go to a fight and be a fan because I guess too stressed out, but yeah, but you're right. There's a lot of people out there just looking for, they're either having a crappy day, they want you to have it worse, or they're just looking for something for free. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, I mean, like you said, you're feeling great. You're in a great place in life right now. The fact that you're stepping inside the cage, I mean, that's a testimony, because everything you've gone through, now you get to go and go back and do what you want to do, basically.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I had my shoulder surgery, and then it was a long road back from that. I got to fight twice before I was taken back out again for this neck thing, and then I had to start this long road all over again. So for me, it's always a big deal. Like I lost my fight coming back off my shoulder surgery. It was really close. I didn't get smoked by any means. It was a very close fight. But like, even though I lost, obviously that's not the outcome I worked for. It's that it was a long road back to lose a fight. But just being back there and having the ability to do what I love, I was so happy. I was so happy to be there. I was happy even after I lost. I could give a shit, right? Like, I was ecstatic. I was crying in the cage, like, just happy to be there. Even though it didn't go my way, I was grateful to be able to do what I do, and I can anticipate much of the same, except for this time there's going to be a win.
No, and I was going to say, I mean, your biggest battle was actually recovering. I mean, everything you went through was a battle in itself. So I mean, yeah, I mean, the fact
harder than any fight.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's something. I mean, I've been blessed. I used to skateboard back in the day. I used to slam and fall, but I've never broken anything, so I've never had to go to the hospital for that sense. So I wouldn't know how that feels, but I can only imagine. It's just having to, like you said, be able to do everything yourself, and then basically start from scratch and have to relearn everything. It had to be stressful for one thing.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I'm going to be happy to be back there regardless. And actually, FAC was where I fought off the return of my shoulder surgery. So this is going to be another return into the FAC cage, which, again, fighting another hometown girl, it seems that we're always fighting in somebody else's backyard. I can't honestly remember the last time I've had a local fight of my own where I'm the favorite and I'm the hometown. It's been 4 years maybe since the last time that happened. So this is familiar territory to be walking into somebody else's backyard. But the thing is that close decision that I had at FAC last time could have gone different, if it was anywhere but her hometown, so like, that's the thing. When you go into somebody's backyard, you got to win, like, decisively. You need to win that fight. And that's the difference I'm going to make this time.
No, yeah, you see, we have that here in Texas. We always say don't leave it to the judges because we never know what the judges are watching. And so, yeah, because of that alone, I mean, especially if you're somebody else's hometown, I mean, the cheers, the excitement for that other person, of course, yeah, it does influence the judges, or it does, it might influence the wrong person. But yeah, I mean, of course, once again, I mean, the promotion itself is going to be going down to Independence, Missouri. Have you ever fought there?
It's the same place it always is, correct? Yeah.
Well, I thought they had traveled with it. I might be wrong, but yeah, I mean, if not, then definitely.
I think it is. I think because I'm terrible at this because I never concern myself with this stuff until the week of. But I believe my poster says it's at the Cable Dahmer Arena, which is the same place I fought the last time. So I believe it's the same location. But yeah, I like, my coach was like, like, where are weigh-ins? What time are weigh-ins? When do we have to go? And I'm like, I don't know. I worry about that the week of weigh-ins. I don't really even look at any of that stuff until it's closer to time.
That's when you respond. I just fight. It's
yeah.
Just
I don't know. So. I figure if they want me there bad enough, they'll send me the details.
And I mean, how far is that from you right now?
From here, it's only a 5-hour drive, which is way shorter. The last time I fought there, I was living in Wisconsin, so it was an 8-hour drive down there, and it was miserable because I didn't cut weight down there. I cut weight before and then drove the 8 hours, and that was my last fight at 115, and that weight cut almost hospitalized me. So it was really not a good scenario at all. This time she wants it at 120. I fight 125 now, but 120 is doable. You know, it's those last couple pounds. It's always the last couple that really fuck you up, you know? So like 120 is doable. It's not dangerous for me. For whatever reason, those last couple pounds on the way to 115 are where it gets really sketchy. So
I mean, that's one of the fighters here. We were talking about the whole Khabib promotion, for example, where they have that 160 weight class, and I had asked him, I said, man, is 5 pounds like a big difference? And he's like, bro, the last pound is a big difference. And I've never cut weight, but when he told me, I said, okay, you know, made me realize that, yeah, you know, because when you're sweating everything and you know, there's no more sweat, then what is there, you know?
yeah, and that's exactly what it was. I stopped sweating. I actually for that one, I stopped sweating. I couldn't sweat anymore to cut weight. And then even putting water in and taking in salt and all that stuff, like rehydrating the next day for the fight, I still couldn't sweat. Like we were warming me up, I couldn't get sweat going. Like my body was just clinging to all that like water. It wouldn't let any of it out. It was real rough. I mean, and honestly, I still like I'm not disappointed with my performance at all. I do believe that maybe even my weight cut would have gone a little bit better. That would have given me that little bit more energy that I needed to make the difference. But like, I'm not disappointed with my performance at all. That's the first fight because there's a little bit of bad blood with the girl, which I really don't have. Like I very respectful of my opponents. There's a little bit of bad blood with her. And so like right out the gate, this is the first fight ever, just off the bell, I just started throwing. And you know, hopefully that broke my slow starter reputation, but yeah, I'm not disappointed, and I'm not using my weight cut as an excuse. I think that it just, you know, it always affects you if you have a bad one, but those last pound or two, especially for women's way different. Like I don't think men realize, because like even my coach was trying to have me cut weight like him. It doesn't work the same. We have hormones that retain water. We can't sweat the way that fat doesn't come off our bodies the way it does for men. It's a completely different process. And I've actually hired a weight cut coach, and she's great. She knows, she specializes in weight cuts for women, and it makes all the difference in the world. I feel great, and my weight just tapers down the way it should, and it helps immensely. Mentally, it helps immensely.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we don't. I mean, the women. I'm curious to see. What can you plug them in? I mean, what is their name or who are they?
My weight cut coach. So her business is Gut Uppercut is what it's called. She works with men and women, but she specializes. She understands like the hormones and the way the female body works a little bit better than most cut coaches. Her name is Terry. Brent's. She's actually married. I don't know if you know who Tamika Brent's is. So that's her wife, Tamika Brent's wife. She does the weight cut coaching for a bunch of the girls in that local area, and I met her through some kickboxers that trained with her wife. So.
No, well, that's good to know because obviously, I mean, I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but I mean, for others watching this or listening, I mean, definitely that's something to look.
Sure. Hit her up, man. The science behind everything. She has an answer and a reason for everything.
Oh, that's good. I mean, obviously she knows what she's doing, so that's a great thing.
For sure.
Now, let me ask you, as far as training, I mean, you said everything's going great. Today, what was it? What did it consist of?
Today was a kickboxing session in this morning, and it was a lot of like we were working some stuff that Bilal did in his fight against Luke. Right. God damn it. We were working some stuff Bilal did that really like made the difference for him. A lot of like that movement type of stuff. And we've really been hammering that in the last couple of days. And I'm starting to get it. And it's cool when things click, but that's what we've been working on. He was really good with his side to side movement. And I get hit in the head a lot. So like I could really use some side to side movement.
No, you see, and that's one of the things. Do you I mean, when it comes to training, do you do that? Do you watch videos more? Or I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure your coach and your teammates help you out. But I mean, do you go back and watch footage for certain wrestlers or fighters?
So we watch fights when he'll like reference. He'll be like, okay, so if you watched this in this fight, right? Like this is something they did really good, right? So it does help. Do I personally go into like the UFC archive and start watching fights? I really don't. I watch the fights that come on when they come on. So like the Bilal one, like I watched that one with the team here. So that one I did watch. But as far as like going back in the past, I'm terrible at that. I truly like with some of the references. I'm just like, who? Because I've only been in the sport since I was 21, and before that, I wasn't an athlete. I've never done a sport in my life. I didn't follow any sports, so like,
Wow.
I really only know what's happened since I've been a part of this sport.
Oh, wow. And when they started for you, what was the reason for it? Were you trying to get in shape? Were you trying to like learn self-defense, or what was going on?
So my brother actually fought for the gym that I trained at up until recently.
Oh, I think I lost you. There you go. There you go.
Yep. Okay. Sorry. So my brother fought for the gym that I trained at until recently, and I just went to his fight and I watched him, and God, he won in the most dominant fashion. It's still the coolest thing to date that I ever seen, and it's probably because it's my brother, but he won in mount double hammer fist, just pounded the dude out, and like I was like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and me and my brother are very similar in nature, and I was like, so like if he can do this and he looks that comfortable up there, he looks like he belongs, right? So I joined the gym, and my brother, me never being an athlete, my brother being an athlete his whole life, he was like, you're never going to stick with it. I was super heavy, super out of shape. Like I was like 160 pounds. And like I fought at 115 most, you know, so it's a big difference. He was like, you're never going to stick with it. Whatever. Well, here we are 6-7 years later. I'm stuck with it. Brother's nowhere to be seen. So,
And
I joined it.
So he hasn't fought since, or he hasn't been fighting?
He fought since. He fought and he lost. He actually fought Josh Marsh, who is I think in Bellator now or something.
Yeah, no,
That was his fight, his second fight and his first loss. And it was a doctor's stoppage. I think even unbiasedly, I think it was a little early. Can I say that their fight would have gone differently had it kept going? No, I can't. But the doctor, like my brother broke his nose and the doctor stopped it, which you've never seen before anywhere. You know, like a broken nose doesn't stop a fight.
Oh yeah.
So it was weird, but that's how it went. And but Josh, I mean, shit, like Josh Marsh being your second amateur fight and seeing where he's at now, there's really not a whole lot of shame in that. So
no, not at all.
he just I don't know. He had a couple daughters too. He's got 3 daughters now, and I think he just kind of lost the fire, which happens. You know, if you don't plan on making a career out of this, maybe a loss is really all it takes for you to go, I don't really feel like doing it anymore.
Oh yeah, because obviously, I mean, it takes a lot of dedication. I mean, having to just wake up and go train. I can only imagine the weight cut, the meal cuts. I mean, everything that goes with it. I mean,
and to do it with kids, I know people do it, but to be really early on in your career and have children during it, like when you're still trying to learn all the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, and currently I'm not working. Since I moved, I'm not working. I'm just focusing on this. There was too many distractions early on, so I prioritized this. Even now, I still feel like, holy shit, man, I'm tired. Like, when do I have time to eat? When do I have time to do this? If you had kids and a job on top of all this, like typically I work and I do camp at the same time, but if you were to throw kids into the mix, I can't say I could do it.
Yeah, no, yeah. You see, I interviewed somebody earlier, and she had 5 kids, and her husband obviously supporting her, you know, but he's home with the kids, and I was like, wow, man, I give her a lot of props, because I'm like, you know what? I mean, my kids are grown. I got 4 dogs at home, and that's enough for me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home, feed them, and then take a nap.
Yeah, and I mean that's that's another thing that we really underestimate is having a partner in this. You know, like I see like 2 of the girls that are in St. Louis that I met Terry and Tamika through. They're like the most, like, they honestly, if you pay attention to their relationship, they're gonna make you feel like shit. They have the best bond and the best support system for each other. Like if they're in camp, they literally they complement each other, and one picks up the slack if the others fall. You know, like that's insane. And to find somebody who can support your career like that and knows, you know, like, hey, it's about you right now, or hey, it's about me right now, and they just, it's an understood thing. That's it's priceless. Like I've done this shit alone forever and ever and ever, right? I don't have a person that does things for me when camps are going rough or any of that. And doing that, having that kind of a relationship is it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, because even now we've joked about it for years, as far as like when one of the guys starts dating, we're like, all right, buddy, that's it. We'll see you later, because half the time, it takes just that for them to stop training or stop coming around, which is,
Yeah, because people aren't supportive all the time.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, but it's hard to actually find somebody that's going to be okay with you being at the gym, not
all
being,
the time.
yeah, pretty much.
They're
But
like, you don't pay enough attention to me. I was like, well, this is like, do you realize that if I don't go there, I'm gonna get my ass kicked the next time I step in the cage? Like, is that what you want?
that's when you tell them, here, hold some mitts, spend time with them, right? Tell them to hold some mitts up for you.
Yeah, you need, and that's the thing. As a like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna use Dustin Poirier for an example, right? Like his wife, she doesn't fight or train. Which to me, if you don't fight or train, it's almost harder to understand it. If you can find somebody who does what you do, they get it, right? They get during camp, you're gonna be pissy, you're gonna be tired, like they just understand.
Right.
Whereas like I couldn't see me dating somebody who doesn't do this stuff because they wouldn't understand.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, I feel you on that one because yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially right now, like you said, you're ready to get back on the road and start doing this all over again. Let me ask you because this is actually you have 10 fights going in, right? This is going to be your 11th bout.
This is my 11th and my last amateur bout.
And I was going to ask you, are you looking to go pro after this?
Yeah, regardless of the outcome, regardless, I don't care. It will not change either way. This is the last amateur fight. Like, heaven forbid I get finished in 3 seconds. It's still the last amateur bout. The only reason that I've been here so long is these fucking surgeries. I don't like it. It's hard. It would be hard mentally for me, admittedly, and I don't give a shit. Mentally, coming off a surgery and immediately going pro would be a very difficult thing for my head, right? Because those fights matter. They count. And it's not that amateur fights don't matter. They don't count. They don't stick with you for the rest of your career. You can fuck up and no problem. It goes away. As soon as you sign a different form that says you're a pro, none of it matters.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you see, and that's one of the things I always told the amateurs. I mean, because yeah, nobody wants to lose, but when it comes to amateur bouts, you know what? Throw whatever you want out there and see what works and what doesn't. But no, it's like, okay, I won't do that anymore. But you know what? This works for me, and go from there.
I've taken a lot of really stupid fights in my amateur career. Like we flew to Maine on a week's notice. I did a kickboxing bout, three weight classes up on 4 days notice. Just as a favor, somebody was like, well, she sold $2,000 worth of tickets and her opponent backed out. And I had just fought at 115. She was fighting at 140 or whatever the kickboxing class is. And I was like, I'm stepping on the scale, keys in my pocket, phone in my pocket, shoes on, hoodie on, sweats on, hat on, everything. And I still weighed under like 5-6 pounds under her. And so, but it's like, this is the time to do it. Cause like, none of this follows you and you get to experience all the shit. I got to experience traveling and weight cutting. I got to experience bad weight cuts, good weight cuts, fighting in other people's backyards, all sorts of weight classes. I've done MMA at a 35 all the way down to 15, so like this is the time to do that. Experiment, take dumb fights, get that experience all over the map, because you want to know what? Now when I go pro, I know what it's like to travel and weight cut. I know what it's like to fight people in their hometown. I know all that stuff. I see so many fighters that do 4 or 5 fights in their hometown and that's it, and they go pro. And honestly, I feel kind of bad for them. I'm like, you don't really have a whole lot of like worldly knowledge on this shit. So like when you get your first fight and you have to travel to like Las Vegas for a pro fight, and that's the first time ever traveling and cutting weight, that might fuck with you.
Oh yeah, and it does. I've talked to people, fighters that are on Bellator, or they go to Bellator and they're like, man, they have 18 plus fights. They go to Bellator and they step out and they're like, crap. Like it's an arena, it's just cameras now. It's like worldwide, and it's just like a whole different ball game, But yeah, I mean, the fact that you're able to experience that and have experienced that, that's actually that's great, because yeah, like you said, I mean, somebody could have a 10-0 record fighting at home, and then first time they have to travel 4 or 5 hours and cut weight while they're doing it. Yeah, they're gonna be like, crap, well, how are they gonna set up or balance once they get there? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of adversity that you have to overcome because it's all new to you, and I'm lucky and fortunate that I couldn't really find a whole lot of local fights. I was forced. If you want to fight, you got to go all these different places, so like I was fortunate. I might have a 500 record as an amateur. it doesn't bother me a bit. I know the fights I've taken and I know the risks I've taken and what I've done. So like for me, and honestly, more of my losses are when shit was right, when my weight was right, and it was shit. Most of my losses are in my hometown. You
Oh,
know, like I think 3 of them are in my hometown. So it's like shit. More of my losses come from everything going right than it does from everything going wrong.
and let me ask you, because you say that, are you more comfortable fighting away from home, or fighting at home?
I I think that I've gotten more comfortable fighting away from home just because I've had to. Um, the last couple of years, I haven't had any local fights, but it also takes a lot of the pressure. Like when you're an away fighter, you know people aren't really going to buy a whole lot of tickets, travel all that distance. You know, you're lower level still, you're amateur. So like me fighting in Kansas City or Independence, Missouri, they're not going to drive 8 hours from Wisconsin to come see me. So like advertising, I don't really need to do it. You know, it takes away all that distraction, and I literally just have to focus on training and showing up. I don't have to sell tickets, meet up with people to give them their tickets, make sure I'm leaving whatever at will call and advertising a bunch to get a crowd there. I don't have to do any of that shit. So I
Yeah.
think from a distraction point, I'm more comfortable fighting away from home.
No, you see, and I always ask that because there's fighters that feel the same way. They're like, you know what, nobody, some people care, some don't. But the ones that do, they're like, yeah, nobody's. I walk out there, I don't see my uncles, my friends. It's just I go in there and I'm able, they're more comfortable. Whether they win or lose, of course, they want to win, but it's a fight, so we never know. Now, let me ask you, as far as your nickname, I was going to ask you about that. Where did that come from?
It was actually given to me by the guy that makes my shirts or made my shirts. The guy that designed this named me. So, my last coach always called me Money. That was his nickname for me, but it wasn't something that stuck. It didn't have a ring to it. It wasn't something I used fighting. This is actually going to be the first fight that I have with any name. I've always just walked out as me. So it was just given to me, and I rode with it because not to get into, and I'm not trying to like bash anybody, but where I was living, like somehow I stay in my lane. I don't talk to anybody. I spend most of my time alone, but I still was like the root of everyone's problems somehow. Like, so I felt like I was like a scapegoat for a lot of people. And so I was like, well, fuck it. If I'm going to be the villain, I'll be the villain. I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me a bit. If you want to use me for all the problems in your life, even though I don't ever spend time with you or talk to you and shit, but somehow it's all me, then I'll play the role. It doesn't bother me a single bit. So that's why we just I kind of like, it was given to me. Somebody used it as like an idea because I like this dark kind of stuff. All my tattoos, I have a big Grim Reaper on my side. I have like this demonic girl on my arm. So like I think that I like all this darker stuff, and this was like a design I kind of like gave him ideas for and requested. And he was like, well, what about this? And I was like, oh yeah, fuck it. I mean, shit, everybody acts like I'm the worst thing that's ever happened to them. So like I'll ride that off into the sunset then. That'll be my name and I'll play the villain.
No, you see, and then once again, it goes back to somebody saying, you're the villain in somebody's story, because I mean, of course, I don't know why it happens that way. I mean, I used to work in the post office years back, and I minded my own business. I was all about my kids. I was all about work, and somehow people hated me because women would talk to me because I was cool and I wasn't hitting on them, and the guys that would do that, they would get upset because they're like, oh man, you're just trying to sleep with everybody. And I'm like, bro, like just let me do what I got to do and go home, man. Like that was a lot.
You can't make it's not even that you can't make everybody happy. A lot of times you can't make anybody happy. It's yeah, like people hit on me, and whether I'm an asshole about it or whether I politely like just kind of decline, they're always like, oh, well, you're a bitch anyway. It's like, so there's no right way to handle that kind of stuff. And then it's like, I've literally had this happen like 3 or 4 people, when I was all about other people and I was doing all this shit, and I was like trying to be a people pleaser. I was trying to do everything for everybody. And I'm a thoughtful person. It is hard for me to be selfish. So, I was doing all this stuff for everybody, right? And then like one day, like I just felt like I was getting shit on a lot, and I was like, you know what, like loyal to a fault. And so I was just like, I'm gonna start prioritizing me. I'm just gonna stay in my lane. I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I'm just gonna train, show up, do what I need to do, go home, and just really just not interact with many people. They're stealing like my energy, is what it felt like. I was always exhausted, but the kind of exhausted you can't sleep off.
Right.
So I started getting selfish. And like these people would always be like, you know, when they're introducing, they're like, oh, she's probably the best person you could ever meet. She's the best friend. She's always there for you. That went from the way people described me to everyone hating me like overnight, because I started putting me first.
Yeah.
And it was difficult at first because like you're so used to everyone liking you. But this sport, you have to be selfish. You have to prioritize yourself. You cannot worry about other people's feelings and stuff when you're in a camp or when you're training. It has to be about you. So
Yeah.
and I started realizing that. I was like, fuck, I'm tired all the time. I don't have the energy for the things I need to do. You know, why is that? And it was because I was trying to make everybody happy. And and there's like one or two people that stuck with me through that change. They supported me. They were like, no, if you got to do what you got to do. Like, if this is what you love, like, we get it. And those are the true friends. The people who thought highly of me before I prioritized myself and now they hate me, fuck them. I don't care. Go, like, it doesn't faze me one bit that you don't like me anymore, because you obviously don't have my best interest in mind.
No, yeah, and that's true. It's just like what they say in business. You know, you stop giving away free stuff. You see right away who your friends are, man. Because everybody wants
Yeah.
free stuff, take it free, and I'm like, hey, I gotta pay for them. You know, like, come on.
Well, that's
Nothing.
what people like. Even my parents will be like, oh, what, we don't get one of your shirts for, like, we have to buy it. Yeah, because I have to buy it. And I was like, it's not that like I'm trying to make money off you guys, but like I can't afford to buy shit to give to you. I'm a fighter. I'm not even working right now, you know? So like, as much as like if I had the ability to give you guys like shirts, 100% I would, but I don't. I can't afford it right now.
No, yeah, I feel you on that. I used to have a t-shirt company here years back, and yeah, everybody's like, "Oh man, well, can I get 5 free shirts?" And I'm like, "Okay, but it's coming out of your purse or your cut, you know, because I mean, I had to pay for them otherwise." But yeah, that's just, you know, it's some of those things that people don't notice or don't care about. Obviously, you know, like you said, I mean, the people that have their best intentions on at hand, I mean, are the ones that are still with you, so that's great. You know, I mean, come fight night. I mean, what can we expect? I mean, you are going to be fighting at, you said, catch weight at 120.
Catch weight at 120. Yep. So this is going to be, um, typically I've made 125 my home since my last cut at 115 that went really, really bad. It was a very close call. Like there almost wasn't a fight, you know? So we moved up to 125 and I love it. I loved being big. I don't, right now I feel disgusted by myself because I'm so little. I hate it. But 120, not impossible to make. We're gonna make it just fine. We're right on track with weight. So the weight cut's gonna go fine. And honestly, like, I'd be honest if it wasn't, because I don't give a shit. Like, people can know you struggle. It's fine. So 120 is gonna be a piece of cake. So I'm gonna feel great. I'm not gonna feel like fucked up and sluggish like I have prior trying to go down in weight. I do, thanks to Terry and gut uppercut, and also just the coaching at this gym. Like, when you need to lose weight, man, those sessions get hard. So just the combination of the two, I'm right on track. So like, as far as like health, I'll be fine. I'll be perfect. Now, as far as the fight goes, my hopes and what I'm going to attempt to do is be on the money, like right out the gate, just like I was last time I fought at FAC. I might not have won that, but I was not a slow starter by any means. I was on it from the moment that bell rang. And so that's my goal. And it's going to continue to be my goal. Like, I hope to always fight that way. Like, whereas in the beginning of most of my fights, I'm blocking and just kind of countering when I see it. And it's a slow start, right? Whereas, like, fuck, that last FAC one, I didn't give a fuck what she was about to throw. I was in it from the moment that bell rang. I was just like, she's getting it. So, yeah, I hope to fight more of that kind of a style, like a higher pace type of style. And I really hope that that just becomes the way that I am. You know, my fight for caged aggression was my last fight before getting taken out for surgery. But I had the neck injury during that fight. So it was a slow start, but it was because I could not get hit. Like if I got hit, it was I would drop 100%. And it not even because of a knockout, because of like how bad my neck was. Like if I would have gotten caught just right, that'd have been the fight. And I would have looked so fucking dumb. So I had to fight a different fight. Like I had to be more, keep her the fuck away from me. Don't let her hit me. Go in when I feel I have the moment, you know. So I've only got to fight that way like right out the gate one time, because the next fight forced me to be more like my old self. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to stay like that. I want to be quick right out the gate. I want to be a fucking problem. I don't want people to even be able to find their rhythm with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, just like the law, you say, you just keep moving, keep the pressure on. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I know the card itself, I'm actually excited about. There's a lot of great bouts coming up. A lot of them evenly matched. I mean, which is even better because now it's like, okay, who's gonna win? You know, who's gonna be the better fighter that night?
I love when promoters actually put the time into matchups. Like you can go to a card and you can tell when they just were like, oh, this person should fight this person. Fuck it, whatever. Bye. You know, like you can tell when it's those kind, because it'll be finish after finish after finish after finish, right? And the card's over so early, you know. But you can tell when a promoter took time and they were like, stylistically, this person, gonna be a good bout. Me and Julie, great matchup. She's 8-6. She's got a lot of experience. She's easily my highest experience opponent, which I fucking love. I'm so tired of being somebody with so much experience and fighting people. Like my last opponent, love her. She's great. She was 1-4 at the time I fought her. Nothing against her, but I don't want to put my body through a camp for an opponent that isn't going to force me to get better. You know,
right.
Fighting somebody who's 8-6 who has more experience than me, that's a fight. It forces me to make improvements. It's worth my time and the damage to my body to take that kind of a matchup. So the promoter was more than happy to take us to his card and make this matchup happen. And I could not be more excited for it.
Oh yeah, I know. I was going to the card and I said, man, yeah. I mean, I said exactly that. I said, whoever the matchmaker was, I said, man, they really
took their time.
They wanted to watch some good fights that night themselves because it's pretty good, easily matched. I mean, I love it. Now, of course,
pretty good about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you see, and that's true because a lot of times, I mean, a lot of promoters do match a wrestler versus a striker, and then because they want that knockout, they want that quick finish, and it's like, man, you know what? I mean, give me my money's worth. I'm buying a ticket. Let me watch some action.
Yeah. Cool for the people fighting to have a quick and early night. Like I love an early night. Like I like being earlier on the card because you just, or if I'm not a finisher and no shame in my game, but like I like being earlier on and then just being done and you get to like go about your night, right? But like for the people who pay, I can tell you right now, I've paid for a card, or I've paid to go see fights, and like they were like 8 out of the 11 fights were finishes, and the fights were over at like 9:30. I'm like, what the fuck did I just pay for?
Yeah, I've been to somewhere where they end so quick that the intermissions, they have to add another one because they're like, man, we need more time, so they make another intermission, and I'm like, dude, really? But I mean, yeah, it goes back to the matchmaker because obviously they don't do their homework. But on this one, they did. I mean, it is going to be for the Fighting Alliance Championship number 8, like we mentioned, on May 6th. I do thank you for coming on this. It was super great talking to you, and I hope after this win, I mean, definitely for your next bout going pro, I'm looking forward to it. I will hit you up, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's always fun.
No, not a problem. Real quick, who are some other sponsors you have for this bout?
So I'm actually, again, like I really stay in my lane. So I actually only have one sponsor, and that's HK USA. They make boxing. I'm sure you've seen them. They're hard to avoid at this point. But I've been working with him since nobody knew who he was, and I go hard for him because he goes hard for me. So yeah, if anybody needs gear from them, I think my discount code is Team Lippert to save 15%. So he's my one and only sponsor, but he's hung out with me for a long time, and fuck, I couldn't love him more.
Oh yeah, and I exactly know who they are. I mean, they've actually helped me with other fighters as well. Great quality. I mean, that's I always tell people the people that are using them in training are UFC fighters, people that are fighting training every day,
Yeah.
and this is good stuff because it lasts. Takes a beating.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Oh, that's the thing. Like the gear does sell itself, but the fact that like I wouldn't tell somebody to buy some shit I wouldn't use myself. I wouldn't do it. And like I know that that's how my posts come across. I come across genuine, right? So like I don't just sell like promote them and go hard for them just because they give me my gear, right? If that was shit gear, I would not be working with him. So like it's good and it's good because you're seeing it on, like you said, bunch of UFC fighters now. Everyone's really catching on. So
No, yeah, by all means. And I mean, I know the people well, so by all means, they're doing great things. And I mean, myself too, I always post them out there on my page, on my YouTube channels. Their logo is going to be going up on my banner pretty soon. So,
badass.
but I appreciate it again. There you go. Sweet. No, definitely. And next time I'm going to actually have a couple of shirts made because I'm going to be rocking them too. But I appreciate you once again. Thank you. Don't hang up yet, everybody out there. This is Spida, the Fight Card Podcast. Till next time, follow up.